Polo, Snow Beach, the 9 in the design of me. I'm wise like I designed a Sphinx. Was born a righteous king to rule from New York to Mozambique.
It's chapter 7, mind of an Asiatic, homie. Yo, see, any other time, I wouldn't pay you any mind. Put my best foot forward in every verse and every line. I used to dream, I used to pray about the day that I get signed. Until the truth about this business just blew my mind. I swear to God, I used to think all I needed was a skill. High verse, catchy hook, dope look, then get a deal. I used to love the rock a sold out show just for the thrill, until the real was revealed to my spirit like Jabril. I'm iconic, nothing less than greatness in my catalog. I sit these pump down like Rosa, check my battle scars, digital or analog. Treat the booth like a bathroom stall. Spit the truth in any church, temple, shrine, or synagogue. Let's get it. Yeah. See, everything that glitter ain't gold. Follow me, yo. See, I'm the lyrical messiah, brought fire to non-believers. I can read between the lines, just black and white like jungle fever. The truth, use me as a crutch, I'm the shoulder to cry on. And New Jerusalem standing over my town like Mount Zion. And I be on the move, you standing still, watching the day fly. I be out Cali, Santa Monica, by the Bayside. Catch me in Toronto or flying south of the border. Burner, Maduro, Puerto Vallarta, chilling by the water. See, it's a big difference between love, hate, truth and fiction. Crack the 7 seals, the rock of the laws, the true and living, everlasting gospel, preserved by the apostles, that can raise you from the dust, breath of life right through your nostrils. I see your heart beating, you shaking, you getting nervous. You thought you had me figured out, but you barely scratched the surface. Waves spinning like 7 chakras under the turban. I'm determined, yours truly, God body, at your service.
I am not a Negro, black, colored, African American. I'm a Moorish American. Peace.
Yeah. Hey, 5 on the right, 2 on the left, man. You know what time it is. Yo. We just Moors in America, soared through the shores and endured criminal acts of war on our character. 7 years after the 4th score, no reward. Shout out to the most courageous, they was jumping over barriers. Where does that compare to you? We come from a place where you scared to visit our area. We come from a place where it's scary for good Samaritans. Heavy luggage we carrying, babies having babies. It's crazy being American. Praise the one and only Allah, there's no comparison. La ilaha illa Allah, body and buried gin. Laughing at you clowns like ha-ha, dodging the Nephilim. Conquer lower self with the high, follow your regimen. Way before they came we were gods, and now we specimen. Tried to take the light from our eyes, thank God for Edison. Then they put the wool on our eyes, it's so embarrassing. Now we travel frequently, we should invest in Sheraton. All of us got gold on our bodies whenever we stepping in. Screaming Ramadan, Mubarak, training the flesh again. Wishing we could move as a unit just like the Mexicans. Dodging all the foods with estrogen, synthetic medicines. All sin isn't devilish. Sometimes the decisions that you make come for a better gift. Sometimes when you sin is to relate to all your brethren. Heavenly gates all in our face, we the champions. We live in the sky, we see the angels on the chariots. Waiting on the $20 bill, face a Harriet. I bet you I'ma carry it. I'm in love with music to the point I wanna marry it. But my love for people is greater, so I write messages. Largest spending power, but we still sit at a deficit. Living amongst prejudice, even at our residence. Moors in America, flourishing, excellent. Let's buy up some neighborhoods and groom our own president. Yeah. And I come to you today with all intentions of spreading love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
All right, peace, Morris, peace. All right, is everybody able to hear? Can you hear now? Are we able to hear? Sorry about the audio. Cool. Are we good? Islam. We're going to go ahead and get started. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Everyone, please rise and face the east. All right. Going to do the Moorish American prayer. Allah. Allah. Father of the universe.
The Father of the universe.
Father of love.
The Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
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 Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is
God, my protector.
My guide.
my
My
guide.
guide.
And my salvation.
My salvation.
By night and by day.
Not about me.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Through Ali.
Through Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam.
Islam.
All right. Islam, I want to announce that the meeting is now open. First and foremost, we rise and give the highest praise to the Most High, creator of the universe, our Father God Allah. We give honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for returning our divine creed and nationality to us. We also give honors to our brother, the forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We give honors to all the ADEP sheiks and all the Moorish and national. We also give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh by the Prophet. A lot of people don't know the Prophet set up the government, and he also was he established everything. He appointed our brother Emily Ill as the Supreme Grand Sheikh. We give honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh, on down to our brother K. Dandridgel, and also honors to the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and honors to all the faithful on this call. Islamism. Now we're going to read the Divine Constitution and bylaws. Brother Jackson Bay, would you please read that for us?
Islam. All right, let's give a perfect praise to Allah and honors to the Prophet, True Ali, and honors to the Muslims. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America. The Divine Constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government and must live a life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must properly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah, Noble Jew Ali, founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Jew Ali. Moorish Science Temple the Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Jew Ali, home office Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam, Islam, Islamism.
All right, Islamism. Thank you, brother. All right, we're going to read the writs of the prophet now. Brother Cole Bay, would you please take over? All right, not sure if that brother's mic is working or not. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and read the writs. Hang on one second.
Islam, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Islam.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
I rise and give honors to the great God Allah. Rise and give honors to our prophet Noble Jew Ali. Rise and give prophets to our forerunner, Marcus Messiah Garvey. Rise and give rise and give honors to all Muslims on attendance on this call and all Muslims on the planet. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while in work, on their homes, and in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found them. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Jew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans. They do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Jew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is instructions from your prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Jew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefather, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice your utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam, I'm glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation. They claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islamism.
Islamism. All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Just want to say a few things, though, before we go into our lessons in the Koran Questionnaire. For those that are new, please share your name, location, and your contact info, your phone number and email. All right. We take roll every meeting, so please share your contact information. We'll send you some information via email, but share your name, location, and your contact info. All right. And the reason why we do what you're seeing right now, we're reading our laws. We also go over the Quran. On Sundays, we go over the Quran Questionnaire. These are our laws, our divine laws that will return to our people from our prophet. In the Quran of Mecca, well, actually in several places in the Quran of Mecca, in 3 different places, it tells you that Allah sends a prophet to every people, every ummah, every nation from amongst them, speaking their language. And this wasn't, we're not an exception to that rule. We also have one that was divinely prepared, that was sent to us to uplift us out of the condition that we're in. We fell so far from civilization, so far away from our ancestors, that Allah had to rise one from amongst us to redeem us from under the great pressure that we're under. Right? And so the prophet couldn't just say, oh, you guys are Moors, now you're good. Or here go file this paperwork, now you're good. You don't have to do nothing else, though. You can still act like a savage. No, he had to redeem us, and he had to let us know who we were. We didn't even know that we were Moors, first off. We didn't even know what that means. By claiming that you're a Moor, that means that you are the highest of the high. You're the creators of civilization. So obviously you can't claim to be a Moor and you're still out here getting high every day. If you're getting high every day, that means you have an addiction. That's a weakness, and you need to be working on it, trying to perfect yourself. If you're getting drunk every day, you have a weakness. You're an alcoholic, whether you want to admit it or not. You have work to do. If you're beating your children or beating your wife or doing like some of the trifling, things that people are doing, you can't do that and then turn around and say, I'm a Moor, I'm free, I'm sovereign. You can't do that, right? You're not the creators of civilization. You are a slave to your lower self, right? You're just getting by. You're trying to get over. It's not good enough. And so the prophet let us know what that means. That by being Asiatic, being a Moor, you descend from, that you actually are not a human. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. That you are connected to Allah, that the creator, Allah, is within you, right? And that you control your reality, and that you have a higher and a lower self. And the lower self is actually what is the cause of everything ill, everything that is working against us. And then he gave you the steps on how to subdue the lower self so that you can truly rise up, so that you're not just out here saying, oh, I'm a God, looking stupid. Saying you're a God, But you're weak and you're not actually even in control of your own reality. You know, all the situations, the things that our people as a whole are in. You know, nobody else is getting gunned down like this, like we are, and out here talking about their lives matter. Like that's pitiful. That's sad. And that's why we had to have someone from amongst us. That's why Allah had to send us a prophet. All right? Because we'd fallen that low. And we didn't even know why we were in that situation. You know, the Negro, you know, in our literature, it says the Negro's a four-legged beast. And it is. When you look it up scientifically, when you see how the Europeans have it described, how they have it from a legal perspective, from a scientific perspective, the Negro, the troglodyte nigger, is a beast. It's the missing link. And even though Europeans were troglodytes living in caves, there's a troglodytes a caveman, they put that on us. And even lower than the caveman, because you're the thing that came before the caveman. All right? You're the upright walking savage beast. And that's why you have, you know, that's why we collectively not trying to distance ourselves from our people, but just being real. That's why we're in this situation. And that's why you can't just pretend, oh, I'm a Moor, because I got a little bit of knowledge. You know, only have a little bit. So, man, I was trying to find this picture to put up. I had a picture where it shows an ancient Egyptian. Basically, you have like the sarcophagus with the pharaoh on it. And it's just saying how the ancient Egyptians were about subduing the lower self. I wish I could show it to you, but the only reason I wanted to show it is because this is what our ancestors were about. So when the prophet returned this to us, it's important. This is not just a joke saying, oh, you know, he was an Egyptian ate up. No, he really was. He's returning ancient wisdom to us. No one was bringing information to the hood, to the so-called Negro, because that's what they were calling us at that time. Nobody was bringing this type of information to the Negro, letting them know about the higher and lower self, how to subdue it, how to be God, man, for real, how to be a real life, how to dwell, to be in your higher self and to be ruling from that position, to not be a slave to your lower self. That's the most important thing. Because if you're really God, if you're really Allah and man, no one can rule over you. There's no excuses. All right? And so that's why we work on ourselves. Like, we're not up here trying to act like we're better than people, or like some of us are doing some of these things that we need to work on. But somebody's mic, I need that mic muted. All right, so the thing is, you know, we're not up here trying to make people feel bad if you're getting high or doing any of this stuff. The thing is, like, if we're doing that stuff, we know that we have to do better. We can't act like that's us in our best position, because if you're putting chemicals and substances in your body to get high, you think you need something else to get high, when in actuality, Allah gave everyone a pineal gland, and you can just turn it on and connect to your higher self just like that. Now, if you don't think you have that, maybe you think your pineal gland is calcified or something, or you less than, even though God gave this to everyone. But for some reason, you don't have it, and that's why you got to get drunk or high all the time. Fine. But we know as Moorish Americans that's not true, and we work on ourselves, right? And that doesn't mean that we don't do any work that we need to do in our community to, you know, to protect ourselves. That's a part of it too. But we're working on ourselves, and then we're building a community on these principles as well. All right. So it's just a little bit of work to be a Moorish American. So if that is something that turns people off and think, man, I have to work on myself. I can't just be out here getting high. I can't keep doing this foul, savage stuff. I got to actually be better. If that turns you off, then this isn't something that you might be ready for. You might not be ready for this at this point in life, but that's what it's really about. Okay. And then the prophet established a society for us. He brought us laws. We have a divine constitution. So we have laws. We have things that we have to abide by. So I can't just be out here, I saw this online. This sounds good. I'm going to just go off of that. Nah. Or I saw this. That sounds good. Now, we have laws. We have laws because our ancestors are the creators of civilization. We are not lawless people. We are not anti-government. We created all of this. And then we have divine laws, meaning of or from God. We have the highest of the high. So we hold to our laws. We hold to our system. And since most of us, I mean, probably everybody on this call, nobody's parents were teaching you this. You didn't know any of this. So you have to come in and learn it. And so that's another thing we do. We're teaching it. We're learning it ourselves. We're teaching it. And then we're starting from square one, because when the prophet brought this in the 1920s, for the most part, our people weren't ready. And it started to crumble. And instead of it just fading away into history and us never hearing anything about it again, for some reason, everybody's waking up, starting to look into this nationality, starting to think that there may be something to it. Even though they don't teach you this in school, they don't show you this on TV, ain't nobody out here rapping about it. If they do, they're dumbing it down, because that's all it is. They're not going to really tell you anything. You know, people get all happy because Beyonce, somebody in one of her videos had on a fez. That's all they're going to do. They're robots. They're not here to help you. They're getting paid to push savagery. Beyonce turned around and put out, the Savage remix. They're not trying to wake you up. They're getting paid to push to the whole world that the so-called African American is a savage. Even the women, even the R&B singers. Like, it's one thing, they got the rappers pushing this. They have R&B singers pushing this. They have actors, all the movies and stuff they're putting out. They want to show us as savages. We strippers. We all sell drugs. We all kill. We all beat our women and children. We kill each other at the drop of a hat. We so stupid we don't even care. We just dumb niggas. And that's what they sell to the world. So you cannot act like that and have that mentality and then slap an L or a Bay or L Bay, which we don't even do. It's one or the other, because L and Bays are tribal titles, right? You can't just slap an L Bay on there and put on a blue fez or a purple, maroon, rainbow fez that you found online and be like, I'm a Moor. I'm the creator of civilization, and you savage as hell. No, it's not going to cut it. And then don't even know that we have laws. There's certain things that we don't do. This is how we conduct ourselves. You don't know any of this. No, it's not going to cut it. You can do it, though, but guess what? It's doing nothing. There's people who've been on this for, some of us are just finding out about this. I'm not one of them. I've been on this for a long time, and I'm telling you that back in 2004, people was on this. Not as much as it is now, but they were. Okay, and it did nothing for them. They had nothing to show for it. No buildings. They're not growing their own food. They're not doing anything. And they're all outside of the society, the Islamic Nation State that was set up for us by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Okay? So, and then also, before we go into the Quran questionnaire, I'll just say that, as Moorish Americans, we want to free ourselves from under the Roman yoke and law. We understand, we know that it's not to our benefit. We know that the way that the European is doing things, even though they have a portion of what we had is based off of us, it's the way that they run things is corrupted. It's not good enough. They're going to fail us. They are failing us. They've been failing us. So we're not trying to be under that anymore. And we know that they created this label for us, like I was saying before with the Negro. They removed you from the family of humans. People have no idea that being black means that you are the missing link. You're not even human. Okay? They don't know this. And so we know that not only do we have to come out from under that and return to our divine roots, we have to live it. We have to be it. And then we have to teach our people, and we have to build our society based off of these principles. Right? And then the only way for us to come out from under this thing that the European created to take advantage of us, all right, the only way to achieve that is to come into our own vine and fig tree. And that means our own religious state and laws. And this is how everything is run. This country, they say there's a separation of church and state, but everything, we have ecclesiastical courts, the laws that are being interpreted by the Supreme Courts in every state, they all use the Bible. They all use religious scripture. Okay? So that means that it's all based off of a higher power, Christianity. And if you're not under that, you are not under them. Okay? So they came here, the Europeans came here, they got away from Europe, and they got away from the crown of England. And they came here to establish themselves under their own vine and fig tree. And we have to do it for ourselves as well, because now we're under them and we're under their tyranny. And the prophet established a Moorish Islamic Nation State. He established this throughout the United States of America. And that's why it says in chapter 48 in our Quran, which is the end time and the fulfilling of the prophecies, in verse 4, it says, any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc. All right? So he established Moorish Islamic Nation States throughout the United States of America. Anywhere that we are, we can set this up. All right? And we are to establish the faith of Muhammad and create these Islamic societies. But you can't just do your own thing under one organized government, because they had us out here as these savages. You the Negro, and they gave you Christianity because you were outside God. They gave you this. They gave you a European name. They gave you all of these things, and now they're teaching you, right? So you have to come out of that. We don't need that. We have our own laws. We have our own government. So, yes, knowing you more is not good enough. You have to come within a society that was established for us, and then under an organized government. And then, like with the Sunday school, with our Sunday schools, this is actually where we anoint, appoint, and consecrate our missionaries of the prophet. And those are the guiders of the nation. And that's why we say out of our Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. And then we're to, you guide the nation according to the principles of our forefathers. And that's why we go over our Quran lessons and our laws. And that's why we repeat them. We do these laws every time, because we're supposed to know this inside and out. And then this has the potential to be the great unifier, because even people from the Caribbeans, even people from Trinidad and all these places are, from our understanding, which was returned to us by a divine prophet, returned our hidden history to us. He let us know our people have been over here since before the continent split up, since before the Atlantic Ocean was created. And all of this is true. And then the evidence of it is found, even though it's hidden. It's all over the place. And so someone from amongst us returned this hidden information to us. And so now you can't just skip over and be like, I don't need that. I found something else online. It sounds good. Nah, nobody in the 1920s was coming to our people and letting us know, yeah, there's pyramids all up and down, all over the Americas, all over Africa, all of that. Our ancestors did it. And this is what connects you to that. Now I'm going to create this society for you. And then he went around, he even went to other countries being recognized as a head of state for us. We even have the travel documents showing that he went to Cuba, he went to Mexico, he went to Canada. And he didn't just go there and just talk with some niggas on the corner here. Let's smoke this blunt. No, he's going over there and he's going to like the precursor to the United Nations, where they had this thing that was at that time called the Pan American Conference. And he's speaking to other heads of state. Even from here, they had the Secretary of State for the United States of America. They have people from all over, and they're recognizing him as a head of state for us. You understand? This is not a game. This is not a joke. You cannot leave this out. Okay? And for the people who's new, you're hearing this now. You can't unhear it and act like you didn't get this warning. Like, you've been told that there's a little more to this Moorish thing maybe than what you've heard or what you thought it was online. It's not a game. Because before it was all easy to get this information out where you could just get this on the phone, where it's just on the internet. No, it wasn't even, to see some of y'all young. I was born in 1980. We used to have to actually go to the library. We used to actually have to go and meet people. We had to put in work to get information. I couldn't just, oh, look at my phone and, oh, wow, I'm finding out all this stuff. No, I had to put in work, man. It was hard and it wasn't available. A lot of this stuff, you just weren't going to get it because it's in somebody rich in their personal library. They're keeping this stuff hidden. Some European person. Okay. And I'm saying the prophet had this information that they got hidden away, in the Vatican libraries, in their dungeons, and they're not telling you about it. And he reconnected us to it. So now, yeah, this pyramid was found in Ecuador. And it looks just like the one on the dollar, the US dollar. 13 steps on it with the eye of Providence at the top. And then it had a writing on it on the bottom. And that script has been found all over the world. And the only people that could translate it was somebody who was a Berber, a North African, in other words, a Moor. And the only reason he could translate it is because he knew some of the older languages that they weren't speaking anymore. All right. And the only reason I say this is because there were Moors here in Ecuador, here in Ohio. And the prophet connected us to that. And it's not just good enough to say, oh, I'm a Moor. Nah, it's not good enough. Nah, you have to really be a Moor. This is here in Ohio. Like, you have to actually walk the walk and talk the talk, and you're not going to know this because it's not online. And for the most part, a lot of our people are savages. So it's not like you can just look on, TV or somewhere else. Okay. One more thing. I'm seeing everybody sent their information except for one person. The person that says wise. You're the only person that didn't send your info. I need you to send that. You're the only person that didn't send anything. So if you want to, you could unmute your mic and say something, or you can send it in the chat on the side. All right. So it's not good enough just to say you're more. Some people say, oh, it's my bloodline. One person was on one of these calls. And he's like, why do I have to do all this? It's like, dude, you don't have to do anything. The prophet established a society for us to come in, learn the laws, learn the customs, learn what it means, what's real and what's not, because you're going to be turned all around in every direction in the streets and getting this from the internet. There's a lot of confusion out there. You need to know what it really means. You need to know what the salvation really is, how it really works. All right. And, you have to walk the walk. You have to know what our laws are, how we conduct ourselves, because no one else is going to teach it to you. And then who else is going to do it? If you don't do it, who's going to do it? It's not like you can wait for someone to come and save you. Did your parents teach you this? Did your grandparents? No, they didn't know. And a lot of them don't care. Only reason my parents know about it is because of me. They didn't teach me. They didn't know. The only reason they know about it more anything is because I'm living it. It's not just some internet thing for me. All right. And so I say this again to say that the stuff that I was just saying, this is all true. The prophet established what was called a religious society / body politic. And a body politic is a nation. All right. When you're moving, how the prophet moved as a head of state, representing your people, when they're setting up their own economy, have their own customs and laws, it is a self-governing nation. And it's protected. We have the freedom of religion. Nobody can attack that. Part of our religion, part of what we do, we have to re-educate ourselves as to who we truly are and what that means. No one can attack that. We're protected. Okay? And so, it's really important, and you can't leave that out. You can't leave it out. All right? And so for anyone who's new, I advise, coming on, studying with us, and doing it, like taking it serious, because this is not a joke. The time that we're in is not a joke. All the crazy stuff that you see going on, it's all tied into it. we're heading into a new age. There's no more time to play around. Like, if you still want to hit the club, you still want to get high, you might as well be like you played out right now. If that's your mentality, like, I don't want to get right because I want to get high. I want to get out. I want to get out there and party. Like, man, for all we know, all of these people is going to get wiped out. Okay? Like, they're not playing around. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but they're trying to vaccinate everybody. All right? And it's crazy. You know, they're scared because we're heading to a new age. We're supposed to be coming into our God self. You're supposed to be doing this. This is right on time. This message that the prophet had, all of this stuff is right on time with where we're at. So this is where we're supposed to be moving, okay? And that's also why they hardcore, they push the message. They want you to be, you know, thinking that it's cool to be stupid. It's cool to be savage. When that's the exact opposite of where we need to be at, okay? So I did just want to share that before we go in, because now I know people hear us doing the Koran questionnaire. Oh, this is just a religion. They just like church. No, this is just a portion of what we do. You're hearing us learning our laws and doing this so that we can work on ourselves. Because none of us, I'm not sitting up here acting like I'm perfect. I have to work on myself. I have to, you know, study this and be on this, and so does everybody else. Right? I didn't grow up with Moorish parents who was teaching me this stuff. They weren't teaching me this in school. I grew up where it was cool to be stupid and ignorant and foul and corrupt. Memphis, Tennessee. And it was not, that's where it was cool to be. It was cool to be foul. And I had to unlearn that. You know, it was cool to be savage, and I have to like realize that means that you are a devil. You know, that's what your lower self is. Okay, so can the person in the waiting room hear us? Might as well just go on and remove them. They ain't share their information. So we're gonna read questions 91 through 101, and then we'll open up the floor to questions. So if you have questions, as soon as we're done with the questionnaire, feel free to ask them. Don't feel like scared, because some people, I don't know if they feel intimidated or something like that. Like, we're just here to teach. And no questions are dumb, because no one's teaching you this. How else are you going to know? You have to ask questions, right? And like, we're not here to attack anybody or anything like that. Just passionate about this because, like, we found something that's real. We know what's real, and we're trying to share this with people. And then these aren't just words for me saying that you can connect to Allah. That God is in you. This isn't just something that we read. You know, I moved into the knowing by practicing this and actually connecting to Allah within, and knowing that this is realer than anything else that's out there. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and go into the one-on-ones. Say that again. Okay, so yeah, I guess go ahead and remove that person if they didn't share their stuff. Okay, so yeah, we're in the one-on-ones. I guess I'm gonna start with 90. Can a man be a Negro, Black, colored, or Ethiopian? No, is the answer. And basically, these are all labels that have been placed on us at a different point in time, and they all temporary. They couldn't call us Negro for long. After a while, that started to get played out, and they tried to push color. And so, like, if you look back, you know, through time, through history, you'll see they were saying Negro and colored in the 40s and 50s. You can still see the NAACP, right? National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So that stuff is still around to this day. But our people were actually calling themselves colored. And they didn't even like the term Black. Black at that time was seen, for a lot of people, that was seen as, you know, as a diss. That they saw that, they thought that was stupid to call themselves a color. And they had to ease us into that, like into the 70s And then by the 80s, we started to accept that, black. And then later on, they got one of our people, Jesse Jackson, who I guess was prominent. He was respected by a lot of our people. He started calling us African Americans. And it took a while for us to take on to it, but now we running with it, African American or black. They all mean the same thing because we didn't define it. Europeans created it and defined it, and it's something that's less than, something that's quasi-human. So it don't matter what they say next year, it still means the same thing. And if somebody, like in the beginning of the Bible, in Genesis, God gave Adam the ability to name everything, name all the creatures, name everything. Why? Because man had dominion. Man was Lord of the plane of everything made manifest. So when you're giving somebody the power to name something, they own it. So the European named us and he deemed us less than. So you can never get justice from him. Right? We have to step outside of that. Going into more means you predate that. We predate because Negroes start with slavery. Period. Right? And so 91, the answer question is why? And then it's because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God. All right? And so to be in the likeness of God is to have the faculty of godlike knowledge and will. And of course, by being something that the European created, specifically so that he could keep you disconnected from who you are as the creators of civilization, right? Obviously, we can't be that thing that he created. We have to step outside of that. So that's not who we are, right? And so we return into the ways of our ancestors, the ways of our forefathers. In chapter 11 of our Moorish Holy Quran, our prophet is teaching us that the thoughts of Allah change not. And in chapter 1 of the same Quran, it says, we learned that man is a thought of Allah. So in chapter 47, we're learning that what our ancient forefathers were, thoughts of Allah, made manifest, we are today without doubt or contradiction. All right. And there's no one who's able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. So by just saying that, oh, you know what, I'm a Moor, I'm not black, that's not getting you outside of what the European created. Because they're just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, still a nigger, you know, in the little paperwork or whatever, still a nigger. We're going to treat them like that. Right? You have to step outside of it. You can't do it within their construct. We have our own government. We have our own divine creed. We're not under you. Like, I don't care what you're doing over there. We created Christianity for y'all so that y'all can civilize yourselves because you were savage. Like, we're returning to our divine creed. We're not even Christians. We're Muslims. You know, our creator is Allah. You can't name me. You can't. You know, I'm not what you created, bro. I'm this, right? So we have to step outside of their system, period. Okay, and that's really important. You can't leave that step out. And then 92, what title does Satan give himself? And then the answer is God. Okay, and I mean, we see that. Okay, just from what we're talking about at the physical level, right? Right, I'll go on and read 93. This 93 says, will you define the word white? And white means purity. Purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. So it's like, obviously, the European gave himself this title, which signifies lordship, and then they separated us from who we truly are and made us the missing link. Right, and that's extremely important. And nobody was bringing this information back when the prophet set this up. Everything else, pretty much everyone else who's talking about this, I don't care if it's Nations, Guys and Nerds, Nation of Islam, anything, it morphed out of this. The Hebrew Israelites, everything, all of that, it all morphed out of this. All right, it came out of what the prophet started. Right, so you have to step outside of that. And, we're stepping outside of it with the realization that this is the personification of the lower self. It's physical people because they, named themselves white in order to deceive. A lot of Europeans that came over here weren't even considered white for decades. When they were coming over here, the Italians and Greeks and people like that, they came over here and they lived in the ghetto. They had a ghetto for them, and they were looked down on, and they worked up to get the title of white. And then they've had an unspoken agreement that, hey, y'all gonna assist us in keeping this Negro down, and you get to be white too. All right? And that means God. It means ruler of the land, lords. Right? So, to know that, it's stupid to even continue to call themselves white, which is why we don't do that, which is like another reason why you have to come into the society. You need to learn this. You need to know this is not a game. These are spells, right? Spelling, there's casting spells. You can't be out here, I'm a Moor. Forget them white folks. You can't even say that. We don't talk like that. Why would I, knowing what I know, call the Europeans lords, gods, right? But you don't know that. Because people getting this information from all over the place, and they don't even know that there's a structure to this. And you can't play around with this, right? The words, the spells, they're casting, and you're using it against yourself and don't even realize it. It's just like, I'm gonna still call myself nigga every now and then. I'm gonna call, that's my nigga. We Moors, but that's my nigga. And they white over there, they white. Like, no, we don't do that, period. Right? As Moorish Americans, we can't do that. Right? Because we're not gonna keep, pushing these spells, pushing this stuff that's against us. No. It's against our culture. We don't do that. So yeah, people can't be out here claiming this stuff and they don't even know the basics. You have to know the basics. You'll be looking like a fool out here. You in their courts or whatever trying to call them white. I'm a Moor. Your laws don't apply to me, white man. Like what? You just call him Lord. How you supposed to be a Moorish mastermind and you Lord of the right? So yeah, people playing games out here. You have to notice. These are the basics. 94. To whom do we refer at times as being the great God? And then the name is Allah, right? And so like we used to saying God, most of us. The names actually doesn't really matter because the names depend on your perspective of God. Like the ancient Egyptians at one point called him Thoth, right? Some of the Greeks called him Zeus, and the Hebrews Jehovah, Yahweh. So we're not really caught up in the name so much. Like we respect everyone else's different perspective. They're dealing with the creator of the universe. We understand, we respect that. Not even caught up in that, right? Because Allah is not limited to one region, not limited to one language, Arabic. Like somebody can't be like, oh, you got to learn Arabic to be a real Muslim. Like, get out of here. How are you going to try to put a limit on something that's limitless? The creator of the universe, right? Something is, the Allah is omnipotent because it's inside of everything. You got the pineal in you, and that is a blessing. For you as a human to be able to connect consciously to God in you, right? But that I, this in you is actually in everything, all over the place, right? And so you can't limit that to a region, a language, any of that. So like, it's not limited to even one name, right? But we do give honors. We recognize God as Allah, right? And that also, that connects us to like the almost around 1 billion Muslims all over the world. Question 95, is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah? And then the answer is no. He is a shadow of our lower selves and will pass away. And so like, we're not coming like they don't teach stuff like this in church. That's why it's crazy somebody trying to act like y'all this is just church. Like, they don't tell you in church there's no devil or Satan out there. It don't exist. There's no, like we was watching this show on Netflix, the dude's all like, "Hail Satan," and he's all making a pentagram and dripping blood into it. And it's like, there's no one out there, right? It's the lower self. What is the lower self? It's the consciousness that your body had. When we took on physical bodies, the body had to have an intelligence and consciousness of its own. And it was developed and formed so that the body would be able to survive in this world and avoid the dangers and the things that exist in this world. The body's trying to protect itself. It's trying to survive. So it developed its own consciousness, right? It's alive. And the higher self is Allah in you. That's the spirit of Allah in you. And over time, we began to get more and more absorbed into the physical consciousness, the body, the lower self. All right. And the lower self, as it's saying here, is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah. It's made, it's a shadow of our lower selves will pass away. So that means that the lower self didn't even always exist. That means that, when we took on physical bodies, we used to just be in the higher self. And over time, the body consciousness took on a mind of its own. And it's limited. It will pass away. Because when the body dies, boom, there goes the lower self. And most of the troubles, everything that we, that's bothering us, that's happening, is because of the lower self. That's it. Because the lower self is just seeking to increase its pleasure, and it's not able to know the final outcome before it happens. The higher self is unlimited. It's not limited to time, space, any of that. So it's unlimited. And since we dwell, most of us we're dwelling in the lower self. We're not even realizing how we're causing our own troubles, our own which is our own trouble. We're not even realizing that we're doing this to ourselves. So question 96 is, who made the devil? And then the answer is Elohim. All right. And so looking at this, like, the Elohim are the 7 creative spirits of the creator of the universe, of Allah. And these 7 creative spirits take on a life of their own. They have their own lanes that they're in, each and every one of them. And so you have the aspect of the Elohim that deal with the physical creation, that deal with the world. All right. And so they created this consciousness, this lower self. They created it so that the body would be able to survive. Right. Because when, we develop physical bodies and we're in a world where the stronger consume the weaker, there was a need for the body to be able to protect itself. Right. And eventually the lower self, the carnal nature that sprang forth from the flesh of man, eventually it started to get stronger. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now. Right? Because for the most part, most of us are just in the lower self. You don't even hear that still small voice, maybe, that's giving you advice that, people say, I should have listened to my conscience or something like that. Right? But this is very real, because the physical body is made up of billions of protoplasm. And that's this clear jelly-like substance that resembles the white part of eggs, right? So we have all of these cells inside of our body, and they're all alive. All right. And so mixing all of these elements together give rise to the lower self, because each cell in your body is alive. They all have a nucleus. They even work together. They start to work together and form body parts, right? and form organs and all this stuff. And it's all alive. Okay, so yes, there is actually a lower self. There's a consciousness, but it's limited to this world. All right. And when the body passes away, it passes away. Okay. And one of the things that we said previously, that YOLO, that the people used to be screaming out YOLO like that was a fad. You only live once. That's the motto of the lower self. You only live once. Let's go and do this dumb thing. You know, it's gonna feel good. Let's do that. Let me do them drugs. You only live once. Like, it's gonna pass away. You know, so it only lives once. The higher self never passes away. Okay? And so most of us are just dwelling in that lower consciousness. And then we wonder, why are we in this situation? How did we get here? That's why. So ultimately, the prophet, he took care of the physical, like, real situation we're in. They have us boxed in as less than human. And so he's like, look, you have to get out of that. We created this society, this government and everything. You can come in here, return to your divine creed, and start to operate out of that, out of your government. Right? And this is how you can take care of that. But ultimately, still, you can't be savage. You can't be dwelling in the lower self, like coming into your own government. That's not good enough. You also have to take care of the true problem, which is that we fell, right? And so we have to rise back up. We have to unfold Allah in man, right? So he's taking care of our earthly and divine salvation. This is very important. And we just happen to be into the age of Aquarius now. A prophet comes at the end of the age or the beginning of an age to prepare the people for the time they're moving into, right? So everything's right on time. We're in the age of Aquarius now. This is not a coincidence. All right, so 97. Who is Elohim? And Elohim is the 7 creative spirits that created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. Some people say those are the 7 eyes of Allah, and that they're the supreme thoughts of Allah. And Allah's thoughts are so supreme that they're alive. They actually exist as living spirits. People have, throughout time, like our ancestors, have separated these beings and worshiped them. Like in the different aspects of voodoo, there'll be the 7 main Orishas, yeah, the 7 main Orishas, right? They have a bunch of Orishas, but there's 7 main ones, the 7 chakras, right? And then the Egyptian pantheon of gods too, and they'll separate them and sometimes even worship different aspects of them. Like they'll say, okay, we're gonna worship Oshun, or we're gonna worship Shango, right? But ultimately, these are creative spirits. These are thoughts of Allah. This is what Allah's everywhere. So look, we're gonna have these thoughts be over the universe. They'll be over creation and stuff like that. So they were given tasks. They're not the whole though. You know, it's so much deeper than that, right? That's just a portion of Allah. So that's the answer to that. Who's Elohim? They're thoughts of Allah, and they're over physical creation, or not even just physical creation. They're over the soul plane, the spirit plane as well. All right, and there's different dimensions. There's different planes of reality. So this stuff keeps going deeper and deeper. Going to question 98. What is the Elohim called? Yes, sometimes they're called the 7 eyes of Allah, and the eye is symbolic, right? It's symbolic of watchful vigilance, right? So, like just like the pineal gland is in between your eyebrows, your third eye. It's called the third eye, right? There's this one painter that, like, I think he does shrooms or something like that, and he has these psychedelic experiences, and he'll paint what he sees when he's in those experiences, and he'll like paint like a man or a woman, and their body's made up of all these eyes, and then he'll spread it out and show how the eyes are all connected and they're all over the universe, right? And so not to like be confusing, but that's kind of like what the pineal gland in you, that's the eye of Allah. That's where kind of like where Allah incarnates in you. And it's recording everyone's experience. All right, so in chapter 11 of our Moorish Quran, we learned that the triune Allah breathed forth and stood 7 spirits before his face. And that means that Allah differentiated himself 7 times. And then each of these spirits is given a task, and they're performing watchful vigilance. That's why you see the eye over their planes of existence. So we have the planes of the protoplasm, the earth, the plant, the beast, man, angel, and cherubim. Okay. And then we could also say that we have the 7 experts in the different fields. You have the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Commerce, Agriculture, Attorney General, and they're all performing watchful vigilance over their affairs of the country. And why would they do this? Because they're trying to base their government off of divine principles so that they can be successful. And this is also how we establish our society as well, right? We have a governor. Every state's supposed to have a grand governor, and then the grand sheik of the temples. And we have a grand council. So we have that as well. See, 99, how many days are in the circle? And the answer is 7 days, right? So this is kind of simplifying something that people could say that again. You have to turn on your mic. All right. So basically, throughout time, the masterminds have taught us that the hidden truths can be found in numbers, right? Like our own nature and how the universe reacts to us, we understand the science behind the numbers, we can gain higher insight or higher perspective, right? So in this, this same question, the prophet is hinting that there's a secret knowledge that we can learn in this. To be totally honest with you, I have to continue to build on this. I don't really have anything else to add to this unless somebody else does. I could yield the floor if somebody has some wisdom they want to demonstrate. I do know that the number 7 is it's a powerful number. Creation took place in 7 days. That's symbolic of perfect order. That's a sacred number. All right. Yeah, if nobody else has anything they want to add to that, we'll go on to number 100. Question
Islam.
Islam.
I was gonna add a little bit with the 7 Elohim, because 7 can tie into a lot of things because it's a powerful number. I remember when I was like 11 and my brother was doing the Nubian thing, and with the numbers of mathematics, 7 meant God. And if you tie in your religion, and we have the circle 7 Quran, and 7 Elohim, the 7 chakras, and that all ties into 7. And that's why I also say 7 is lucky. That's the only, as far as the 7, I can see how that all ties in with that.
Islam. All right. Thank you more. I also forgot to say too, 7 is the number of perfected man as well. So, really, I don't think this is really referring to 7 days, like, how many days in a week or whatever. we're saying how many days are in a circle. I'm thinking that's like the ages, right? This is talking about periods of time. Islam, so could be talking about ages, like we're entering into the age of Aquarius. We were in the age of Pisces. So I'm thinking this could be talking about cycles or periods. Islam, I see Brother Shabe.
Islam, speak the background. I rise to give praises to Allah, honors to the Prophet, honors to all you Moors on call. Being that question, my question is, being that we have all that inside of us, the seven Elohim, all the principles, in order for us to, understand what we're getting into, how do we actually demonstrate and perform in real life how Moors are supposed to act civilly? Islam,
that's a great question.
All right, Islam. So first and foremost would be like with how we conduct ourselves, right? We have to begin to exemplify this. I think it's the most important, for us to work on ourselves. That's also, I'm glad you said that too, is I want to remind everybody, like do the exercise to open your third eye. And I would say, now I ain't trying to tell anybody what to do, but I would say do it tonight. Just wake up in the middle of the night. Before you go to sleep, tell your body to wake up and that you want to open your third eye. But, one reason, because you're moving more into the knowing that connection of Allah within you. Also, that might give you more motivation to do this more often, to meditate more often, and to start to bring this aspect of you out more often. Okay. But also, we have let me pull this up. We have the 12 virtues, right? Hold up. Right, it's easy to skip over this or not really recognize what this is with the 12-step ladder. But hold up. Okay, so we have the with the 12-step ladder, the way that this is in the Quran, it's real easy to just overlook this, to read over it, not even realize that you're being given 12 virtues. Okay? But the reason why these are in there, this is ancient wisdom. Once again, this is something that would have been practicing. The master minds in ancient Egypt would have been practicing and working on to subdue the lower self. With each of these virtues, we are to master each of these. Every time you master a virtue, you further subdue the lower self. Once you've done all 12, you've unfolded Allah and man. And then the steps to attain each virtue is belief, faith, and then fruition. Right? So you have to not just read it when we read it together, but you have to read the Quran on your own. The virtues are in chapter 23. It's in 2 more chapters. It's in the chapters that we've been reading as well, even though it's only concentrating on 5 of them. But they're in there, right? And so you look over them, understand them. You start to work on yourself to attain each virtue. Why? Because you're further subduing your lower self. Every time you attain a virtue, you've conquered the lower self. And once you climb the entire 12-step ladder, right, you've unfolded Allah and man. That's why we're given in the Quran the, missing years of Jesus' life. Is we don't look at it like how Christians do, where they say Jesus is the Son of God, and that's it. Like, how is that helping me? You're supposed to worship Jesus. You're supposed to praise Jesus all the time. And it's like, what is that doing for me, though? It's doing nothing for you. So they left it out. But we know that this is the Jesus' life, or his missing years that we have now. We have the blueprint on how to do this for ourselves. in our Quran, Jesus tells us that we'll do this as well. But also in the Bible, even though nobody talks about it, Jesus says on there that, yeah, all gods, and he says that you'll do the things that he did and even greater, right? And even though this is in the Bible, Christians still like try to hold him up, act like he's the only son of God. You know, it's crazy. But it's a blueprint. And so we're to attain each of these virtues. When you're unfolding Allah in man, okay, you don't even have to worry about teaching this to other people. They're going to see the change in you. And if it's in them to do it, that's going to make them want to ask questions and want to start to do this as well. Because we can't force it on anybody. You know, it's just like when we do the classes, there's a certain amount of people that come. There's like 20 some, I think we have like 28 members. You know, our classes usually have around like, you know, maybe at the most like 13, 14 people, like our core. Maybe sometimes we have other people that's not members, but it's like, because everybody's not trying to unfold Allah in man. Everybody's not trying to do that. Some people, they would rather, instead of having an infinite experience, which is going to be just amazing, mind-blowing, they'd rather get high. And they're not trying to do that work. Or whatever reason they have for not being about it this lifetime. So the answer is to work on yourself and to actually study and try to work on attaining each of these virtues. And it's going to take work. And the further along you get, the further you subdue your lower self. All right. And then also, as we build our society, we also put these same principles and codes of conduct into our society, so that our society is being ruled off of these principles, divine principles. And so our society can't fail. The only way it can fail is if we faking the funk. We're not really about this life. We just want to look like we high and mighty. Right? So, you know, and that's the biggest thing though, is working on yourself and like actually knowing what these virtues are and then not trying, but applying it to yourself. All right? Unfold Allah in man. It's not about me talking to you or you talking to me or us talking to anyone else. It's about doing it for real, for you. And, you know, then everybody else is ready for it. They'll come along. You know, raise your family. I can't be out here. I'm the grand sheik, and I'm not even like raising my own children. Like I got children all over this place. You know, I got children with this woman, there's somebody else, and they're just all over the place. I'm not even messing with them. Right? Like, nah. This is what some people want to do, though. They want to say they Moors. They got a bunch of kids all over the place. They not even doing what Moors do. We have instructions. What did we just read in the Divine Constitution? Somebody, please. What are men supposed to do? Husband, you must what? Support your wife and children. So, like, you can't be a weirdo out here. You don't have no wife. You don't mess with women. You have to have a wife and children. You have to be supporting them. Like, not just financially, you have to be there. You have to actually be there helping to raise and protect them. And wife, you know, they have instructions as well. Children have instructions. So it's like, we have to be out here. We have to be abided by this. And then we have to also be honest. Some people don't want to do this stuff. It's some people that have actually been exposed to this, maybe even tried to start learning it, and this stuff don't appeal to them, and that's why they're cool with just you know, faking the funk. Like, I'm gonna call myself a Moor, but I'm not really trying to do that stuff. I'm cool with being savage. Okay, but this is the most important, the self-work, right? To answer the brother Shawbay, this is the most important. Okay, you have to work on attaining each one of these virtues. Remember, each one that you attain, that you actually mastered, you got this down, You are subduing the lower self. You are unfolding Allah in man. Ultimately, that is the goal for every last one of us. And if you're doing this, you cannot fail. You don't have to worry about getting money. You're going to be getting all of that. Everything is going to be working out because Allah can't lose. All right. And then others too, if they're ready for this, they'll come on. They'll want to learn more because they're going to see the change in you. All right. So ultimately, we have to be about it. It's not really about speaking a good game, sounding good enough when I talk that it can convince some people to do. Man, I can't convince anybody to do this. This ain't cool. It's cool to be stupid. It's cool to be savage, right? This ain't cool. And it's a lot of people we know that's not trying to hear any of this. Like this, some of the music was just listening to. It's like just like terrible. It's stupid. And that's what's cool. And people are under mind control. And you can't undo it for them by sounding good. Because even if they listening, because they like, man, that sound good. They're going to go right back to where they want to be at. They want to be getting drunk every day. Or whatever their vices are. We all have our own vices. But, you know, some people don't even want to work on it. At least know that, hey, man, I'm using this weed as a crutch. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting drunk every day. I'm an alcoholic. Be real about it. That's what the first thing they do with Alcoholics Anonymous. And they have a 12-step program. Why? Because in reality, the person who created Alcoholics Anonymous, he was on the mind work. He was on the same type of stuff, self-help stuff. And so he took the 12-step ladder, the 12 virtues, and made it a 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay? A lot of people don't know that. And so anyway, whatever our vices are, as Moorish Americans, we're supposed to recognize it. We're not supposed to be like, oh, it's cool. You know, I can keep beating my wife. You know, I'm cool though. I'm a creator of civilization. Nah, man. you got a lot of work to do. Like, you can't be a savage out here. You can't. You have to pick it up. Oh, I got little kids all over the place. I'm going to keep making them know I ain't going to get myself under control. I can't control my lower self. Like, nah, man. You have work to do. It don't say my 12 baby mamas. It says, husband, support your wife and children. Like, you got to get it under control, right? Because dogs were in. We used to this for no reason. Like, we kept the male and the female outside, and I was stupid. I had them tied up, and so the male couldn't get to the female, and a stray dog just came and got her pregnant with some mutts. And then he jumped over the fence and he went and got the other neighbor's dog pregnant. And that's just what they do. You know, he's not coming back around to raise the puppies or none of that because he's a savage. He's a dog. And what do we call each other? That's my dog. What do females call each other? Right? The B word. That's a female dog. And we cool with it. Being savage. We have to come out of the program. It's mind programming. People don't even realize they're under mind control. You are a mind control zombie. We have to wake up. All right? And we have to do this. This has to be cool for you. Now your peers and everybody else might not see it as cool. Right? They think being a mind control zombie is cool, but we have to come out of that. All right? So going to question 101. According to science, how many days are in a year? And then the answer is 7 days in a year. It's just 7 days in the year. You can look at that real simple. Yeah, it's just the same Sunday through Saturday, the same 7 days, right? But then also, this could be talking about an age, eons, ages of time. Some, on a level that we're not even thinking of. So, that's all the insight really I had to add to those. If anybody else has anything they want to add to it, feel free to speak. Okay, if nobody has any questions though about that, I will open the floor up to questions. Just any questions in general that you might have about what we're doing here, feel free to ask. I yield the floor.
Islam, great demonstration, brother. Honors to you for your wisdom and knowledge shared in more science. First and foremost, I want to rise and give highest praise to Allah. I want to rise and give honors to all you Moors in attendance, all the new Moors on the line who's listening in and learning, and just, it's a beautiful thing for us to come together and just share this information and share our experiences so that we can better ourselves and do what we are here to do, our personal assignment that's given to us from the Most High. That's one thing that we are here to kind of quiet the distractions of the outside world. If you look on our 101s, the Prophet is carrying humanity, and he has one of his feet on the solid rock of salvation. And he's coming out of the cares and the worries of the world. And that's ultimately what we are supposed to do and build our society, Islam. And with that, we need to come together and have a trust, a unity, so that we can do the best that we can, so that we can teach our children, so that this cycle, this madness can be broken, so that we're not carrying it on, because we see the cycles, we see it coming over and over again in every generation, and it's getting worse and worse. So we are the ones with our eyes wide open, and we're coming in, and it's on us to break that cycle, to break those chains. So it is very important for us to make these meetings, whether we're members or not, because at the end of the day, we're all part of this community where they are grouping us together, classifying us as less than, labeling us with these slave labels and classifications to keep us in a place where it's impossible to come out unless you are on this higher knowledge and science. And that's why Noble Drew Ali is our prophet, because he is the messenger who came with this message, with this beautiful message of salvation. And this information helps to raise us up from the dead, literally, because black in the eyes of the law means death. So we are not to continue using these terms. Why would I call them white, which means purity, and myself and people that look like me black, which means death? That in itself is deep, Islam. And another thing that I wanted to share, just a quick exercise, that if we look up on Google, if we take 7 days and break that down into hours, it should give you 168 hours. And if we break 168 down, it will give you 15, and then 5 plus 1 is 6, right? Then you break it down into minutes. When you break it all the way down, it should give you 9. And then when you break that down into seconds, it should also give you 9. And when you put in 7,699 in Google, the meaning of that number in general, it equals to field work and personal development. So we are right on time, Islam.
All right, Islam, thank you for sharing that divine insight. Does anybody else have any announcements, or once again, open the floor to questions? So if anybody has any questions in general, feel free to speak. All right, so yeah, if we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and announce that without further ado, we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. Right. Additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1, grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any member, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members, any former officer, that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2, all members are to attend their 8-up meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, they shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3, it is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able to finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4, all members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5, all members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school come the guiders of the nation. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Islam. Right. Right. See, Brother Seymour Bay, would you mind reading the divine warning?
Islam.
Gratitude.
First, I rise and give praise to the Most High, Father God Allah. Give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and to the forerunner, Marcus Musai Garvey. A divine warning by the Prophet for the nations. Citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize their free national name with their constitutional government are classified as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional law and free national government and cling to the names of principles that delude to slavery. I, the Prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law-abiders and receive their divine right as citizens, excuse me, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and the earth,
and of the earth that it comes only through the connection of the Moorish National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by any other citizen, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under granted privileges, as had been the existence condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law in the city hall and among the officials in your government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness and into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is the free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I'm hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all the support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I'm depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mind back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government, like claiming the names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name for their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are recognized by national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and the South in unity, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law was enforced since 1774, declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. And then the lion and the lamb can lay down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. And I, the prophet, do hear and believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin, which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not true and divine. It is not the true and divine way, and without understanding They have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavors in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harms to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerners for all these great misuses, but I have traveled in the South and have examined the conditions there. And it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things that which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for the moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness and into marvelous light. From the Prophet, Islam, Islam, Islamism.
Gratitude, Umar. Gratitude.
Islam, did you close out?
Yes. Oh, you couldn't hear me?
Nah, you was on mute, Sheik.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Sorry. Okay, yeah, all meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Go ahead and I'm going to do the closing prayer. We more stand facing the east. You're going to have your feet together on the square. So your heels are going to be together, feet at a 45-degree angle. We hold our arms up in a cactus pose. 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left, facing the east. You do now need to repeat after me. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in our holy name, the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, Morris.
Peace and love,
Peace and love, Morris. Islam.
I am not a Negro, Black, colored, African American. I'm a Moorish American. Peace.
Yeah. Hey, 5 on the right, 2 on the left, man. You know what time it is. Yo. We just Moors in America, soared through the shores and endured criminal acts of war on our character. 7 years after the 4th score, no reward. Shout out to the most courageous, they was jumping over barriers. Where does that compare to you? We come from a place where you scared to visit our area. We come from a place where it's scary for good Samaritans. Heavy luggage we carrying, babies having babies. It's crazy being American. Praise the one and only Allah, there's no comparison. La ilaha illa Allah, body and buried gin. Laughing at you clowns like ha-ha, dodging the Nephilim. Conquer lower self with the high, follow your regimen. Way before they came we were gods and now we specimen. Tried to take the light from our eyes, thank God for Edison. Then they put the wool on our eyes, it's so embarrassing. Now we travel frequently, we should invest in Sheraton. All of us got gold on our bodies whenever we stepping in. Screaming Ramadan, Mubarak, training the flesh again. Wishing we could move as a unit just like the Mexicans. Dodging all the foods with estrogen, synthetic medicines. All sin isn't devilish. Sometimes the decisions that you make come for a better gift. Sometimes when you sin is to relate to all your brethren. Heavenly gates all in our face, we the champions. We live in the sky, we see the angels on the chariots. Waiting on the $20 bill, facing Harriet. I bet you I'ma carry it. I'm in love with music to the point I wanna marry it. But my love for people is greater, so I write messages. Americas. Largest spending power, but we still sit at a deficit. Living amongst prejudice, even at our residence. Moors in America, flourishing, excellent. Let's buy up some neighborhoods and groom our own president. Yeah. And I come to you today with all intentions of spreading love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.